So today, we're in Bruce County, just outside of Teeswater, which is about 2.5 hours northwest of Toronto, touring what I think is one of the most interesting and unique listings on the MLS. It's 10 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms. You own 14 acres of water. You've got 7 acres of land around you, and it's got its own power producing dam. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, it's an 18th century barn conversion. Now, the sellers have spared no expense, and they've gone full out in making this conversion what it is. Today's video is gonna be super in-depth and technical. We're gonna be describing everything that they've done, and if that interests you, you're not gonna wanna miss it. Okay, so starting with what I feel is the most unique feature of this entire property is owning the 14 acres of water here and having your own dam. So from the middle of the body of water out to the high water mark is your property. You have riparian rights here. And you also have this dam. And the reason why this dam is such a cool feature is it's because it's integral to the original 18th century barn that was built. They used to use the dam to power the feeds to get the grain up 3 floors. Now, the turbines are still here. There's 2 that are operational. One's in use, and they're separately paneled. I want to explain a little bit more about what that means. So essentially the way they have the turbines working right now is to power a furnace in the basement and lighting for the basement of the barn itself. Now, what the current seller has done is he's brought through a rake system, and it's fully concrete and refinished. And essentially how it works is when the body of water here raises to a certain point, you get flow through the rake system, which powers your turbine. So you're in complete control of how much is flowing through, what the level of the water body is, if you want to raise it or lower it. If you lower it, you get less flow, less power feeding through. And the future potential of this area is to feed back to the grid. So technically, you could get 2 turbines fully operational, control the flow yourself through here, and feed power back to the grid, and essentially buy it back when you need it, or feed it to a secondary property that's in your name within Teeswater too. Okay, so this is one of the most exciting rooms I think within this barn. It's the party room. Now it's 50 by 40 and 12.5 feet high, so it's a pretty massive room. And you've got these great double garage doors over here. You've got a walkout here, you've got another walkout to the back, and really an amazing bar area here. This is the perfect room to come together, right? So the property itself can host up to 100 people for a wedding outside, but since this is 10 beds and 8 bathrooms, you can sleep up to 20. So you can have a really large group of people hanging out in here, perfect for wedding venues. Anybody that's doing a bride or a groom shower, anything like that, it's really suited for. The property itself, like this area, has had a lot of work done to it too. So concrete floors, and we're gonna talk to you a little bit about some of the cooler stuff that's just hanging around here that came from when this was an operational mill back in the 1800s. All right, so now from inside, we've got this awesome walkout here. And it's a beautiful window looking at the dam here, but also it gives you access to the 2 turbines that are operational right here. You can also sit out here and enjoy the space. Right here is where we've got the panels coming up from the turbines. So there's 2 separate panels. One of the panels, like we said, is operational. Both turbines are in working order. One's only being used right now. The one that's being used is powering the furnace downstairs and about 14 Bitcoin miners. I do want to reiterate the fact that this dam is relatively small. It's going to be big enough to get some decent power from both turbines, but it's not something that's too big for you to need to really overly worry about. If we do get a big storm or a lot of melts, everything flows over. You're not going to get detrimental flooding through the backside or anything like that. Okay, so this is a barn conversion. Now, back in the 1800s, this was a fully operational barn, and it did leverage the dam back there to help the barn do its work. This was a grist mill back in the day, and essentially what would happen is they would bring grain in, and they would use a pulley system, and you can see this drive shaft that's still here, and essentially what they would do is they would bring the grain up 3 stories and then bring it into the store feed. Now, what I love about this the most is the fact that it's still here. We can see all of the old tools that they used to use and that were in operation for this barn to actually be mechanically sound. And it's so cool to think about how this used to work back in the 1800s, leveraging the power from the dam, the turbines, and then flowing all of the grain up just to make the work that much easier. So stepping out from the main barn, the party room on the main floor here, we're walking into the kitchen. Now, when I come into the kitchen, this is actually the old storage mill for where the grain used to be stored. This is the main floor. And back in the day, they actually had a big feeder right here that went all the way down to the basement. And this is how they would get the grain out. We'll get a little bit more into detail on how the grain rooms actually look when we get upstairs, because you can see it. But the kitchen itself, what you're gonna start to notice throughout the entire build of this is it's super functional for both the personal residence, or you can use it for functions like weddings and everything else. Airbnb, catering, you're gonna notice you've got a door here right off the kitchen, so it's super easy to have catering come through, set everything up for your party to come and enjoy. They've done a really good job at using the size of the island, you know, the layout of the kitchen. It's really functional for all of those purposes, or just yourself. The thing that I really love is the thoughtful integration of the beams throughout the entire building. It's all exposed and open, and this is the structure of the barn itself. So it's really cool to see how they've done the drywall through the kitchen here and the backsplash. And then also you've got this really cool spiral staircase, because the grain bins go straight up, and this is where they've incorporated the bedrooms. So we'll head upstairs and we'll show you those now. Okay, so we're upstairs above the kitchen on the grain bin side, and this is gonna give you a cool reference here. If you come through here with me in this room, you're gonna see this square box. Now, essentially what this is, it's 8.5 by 9.5, and that was the grain bin itself. Now there's 6 of them, and they're all equal in size. So if we go back out here, I'll show you that essentially what they've done is they've framed out this wall here to bring up the staircase. And in this grain bin, if you come through here, we've got some square footage that gets eaten up by the stairs that take you through to the second floor of the barn side. You've got storage closet here with another storage closet above that. We've got 2 bedrooms. So coming back through here to this bedroom, you're a full 12 feet to the ceiling. You've got an ensuite over here, and then you've got your bed. And the reason why it looks like this and it's been cut out is because you're essentially going into the next grain bin over here, right? So again, you're 8.5 by 9. The reason why the 2x4s are laid down horizontally, because that's not typically how you would frame a wall, right? When you frame a wall, they're vertical and they're spaced out usually by 16 inches. You've got these laying down horizontally, and the reason why they did that is because this was holding grain. And what would happen is with a ton of grain, you would get a lot of compression on the outside, so you would bow the walls out, but this is a much stronger way of doing it. If you come over here, you'll see this bathroom. They've essentially just gone ahead and cut a hole in the side of the grain bin. I mean, it wasn't the straightest hole, but it gives it a ton of character, right? And you get to walk through here. And of course, they've come through and totally renovated everything, right? So you've got an upscale bathroom here, a beautiful vanity. When the seller came through, they did do all spray foam insulation on the exterior walls. So this is why you get this exterior wall along on all sides that is fully finished in drywall. And it's a really nice contrast throughout. We've got another bedroom over here. You got exterior walls that have been spray foamed and drywalled, and then you get a full 12 feet in here, and of course this unique doorway. So we're upstairs just above the party room. This is the second floor, and this actually gets us more access to the upstairs, the third floor, the loft. We also just came out of the grain bins area. So on this side, this is above the kitchen, you do have an access that comes through, brings you back to the barn side. Through these doors, you've got 4 more bedrooms with en suites. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on up here. So we've got 5 furnaces on the property. If you remember me talking about the furnace that's in the basement, that's powered by the turbine, that's just electric. There's another furnace down there as well that we'll look at. Now that powers essentially the whole main floor and through to the grain side as well. That's where the kitchen is, so that's covered. Now you've got 2 more furnaces up here. So this furnace on the left side supplies air and heat to this whole side, and then you've got another furnace that goes to the grain bin and then up to the second floor of the grain bin, or the third floor of the grain bin, above the bedrooms. Now coming through here, you've also got laundry. So there's 3 sets of laundry. You've got 2 sets of laundry right here, and then this panel here essentially powers this whole main floor. It pulls power from the corner panel that we saw downstairs by the entry door. So I'm a huge fan of post and beam, and we're back into, again, the structure of the barn being totally exposed, which is amazing. But the sellers told us something that I found super interesting. And essentially what happened with the barn, you know, when it came out of being used for its original use, they took out all of the machinery on the second and third floor. And the original farmer at that point was nervous about taking the weight out from the barn. So what they actually did is they came through and they poured concrete on the second and third levels. Now, the current seller had come through, and when they did the full renovation, they put down this gorgeous cork floor. But what they noticed is from having the cork floor and the concrete between the floors is you get really good sound barrier quality. So you don't really hear a lot of what's happening on the floor above you. And again, that makes this space so perfect for wedding venues. You can think of this space here as, you know, the perfect spot for the bride's party to come out and have a space to stay, right? If they're using it for that case. Each of these bedrooms has a king bed and its own ensuite, and they're really, really luxurious. This is a super versatile property as well. So, you know, maybe you just have a big family. You've got 6 or 7 kids. Again, this could be perfectly converted into their space, right? You could check this out as a games room. You can have a TV, a little living area for them. Each of the kids has their own bedroom. And of course, you've got this great little coffee station here too. So coming through one of the king suites here, again, just going back to the build of the barn, right? So these are functional post and beams right in the middle of the room, all exposed. They did a really good job here with the drywall, really high level of finish. And I really love that contrast between the beams and of course the paint color that they chose. The other thing I really love to see in here is the custom vanities. So these are actually old dressers, and they're super unique in each ensuite. So just something to keep an eye out as you continue the tour. So we're upstairs on the 3rd floor. As you can tell, we're near the roof, and this is really cool. So again, concrete flooring throughout on the 3rd floor. You can feel how solid this is. They've got cork floor up here as well. This is essentially where the grooms would hang out if you did have a wedding venue come through. You've got 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, and I wanted to start off over here with the grain bin, right? This is called Cozy Corner. It's pretty cool, but it'll give you a really cool reference as to how the grain bins come up and through for the originality of the barn. So come on through here with me. So we're at the top of the grain bin. Now this is pretty cool. The seller just walked us through and explained how this was all unfinished. This was the top of the grain bins when they bought the property though, so they've left everything exposed. They did come through and do the spray foam insulation, and then obviously sheet and do the lighting in here as well, and put in a window for some natural light. But I wanted to kind of try to reference where we were at, so it's a better view to see how each grain bin is the same size. So you're about 9.5 feet by 8.5 feet. The grain bin that I'm sitting on right now is actually the bedroom that we were looking at that has the ensuite, which is over there. And then this is that full open area for that bedroom. Right over here, you've got the staircase to the 2nd floor and some storage. And then this one right here is where that spiral staircase is that goes downstairs to the kitchen. And then of course, this last grain bin in the corner here is the other bedroom. So this room is pretty cool. You can use it for, well, they've used it for sound healing baths. They've used it for sort of yoga and stuff like that. It's an interesting spot. All right, so the 3rd floor, this loft area, it's super bright and airy. You've got lots of windows in here and a walkout, which is super cool. But what I really love is the vibe by this 1x3 pine. Basically channels up all exterior walls and in through the ceiling. Now the previous owners, they went ahead and I think it was 1999, 2000, they actually did the barn board on the whole exterior of the barn itself. And then they came in, they vapor barriered, they insulated, they did the 1x3 pine, and it's aged really well. This pine, you know, it absorbs light, it kind of gets this nice golden color, really makes this space feel super warm and nice. Obviously coming through here, you've got a great space for entertaining, whether it's a wedding party or, you know, your kids. You've got a bathroom over here, and the thing that I like about this bathroom is you have entry into the toilet itself, and then over here it comes through, you can close it off. So the cool thing is you have access through the bathroom to just use on its own as a powder room, and you can have people getting in and getting ready and showered up for wedding venues or anything like that. Or kids, you've got kids, everybody can make use of this space. There's also another 4-piece bath at that end. And then you've got 2 bedrooms on the main floor here. And then again, we've got this sky breeze here and 2 bedrooms up there as well that we'll check out. But I wanna show you guys over here, the utility room for this main floor. So just inside this bedroom here, you've got the furnace for the main floor here. So as I said, there's 5 furnaces. This furnace does essentially this entire area, the loft, and then the bedrooms upstairs as well. So what they've done here is they've built this balcony into the roof line essentially. So come out and check this out. This is facing east. So you wake up here in the morning and you get to really take a cool look at your waterway right here. So you've got that 14 acres of pond that's right here. Sun rises in the morning. Since this is built into the roof line, technically we're above the 2nd floor. Now the seller realized that, and they wanted to make sure that it was waterproof completely. So it is a concrete floor through here again, as is the inside, but they came through with rubber membrane that goes up the wall. And of course it is sloped accordingly, so you do get all kinds of water run out and no issues for any water damage or anything like that. Okay, so we're up here at the highest point of the barndominium, and this is where I would probably hang out if I had to pick one of these bedrooms. You've got this awesome catwalk. We're coming out of bedroom 9, going into bedroom 10, and you get this really cool overview of the entire games room behind you or below you. And of course, the views out this window are supreme. Stepping through here, we'll show you guys the Bitcoin miners that we mentioned before. So we've got 14 Bitcoin miners all lined up, ready to go. And coming through to this side, we'll look at the electrical furnace. So as you guys recall, the electrical furnace is powered by the turbine, and the turbine is just on the other side of this wall. Each foundation wall, this is exterior, it's all been spray foamed. On the far side, you've got the exterior wall, and on the other side of that is the raceway. So the concrete raceway is what we mentioned at the intro of the video that the sellers did, forms out, and essentially what's happening is it's flowing water through the turbine system. It all happens on the far side of that wall. The turbine power goes up, hits the panels, and then comes back down through here to power that electric furnace. And now this furnace powers the main floor and then the kitchen area. So there's 5 furnaces on the property. 2 of them are down here, and then the other 3 are up on the other levels. Pointing at the piers here, so there's 4 piers that have been updated by concrete. These piers hold the actual structure of the barn itself. So it's good to see that these have been updated throughout the years and holding the structural integrity of the barn itself. Coming through here, we've got the rest of the utility room. You can see that they've done spray foam insulation in this utility room. This is where the water surfaces come in. There's an artesian well on the property, and essentially how artesian wells work is they're a constant flow. So they've got the pressure tank here, there's a water softener, and this is essentially a catch basin. So what's happening is the water flows through, fills up the catch basin, and then the excess water just gets spilled out. Now over here, they've got a whole UV light system and a pressure tank, and you've got 3 hot water tanks. So 2 of these are actually active hot water tanks. This is essentially a sitting tank, and the reason why they have this is because you're going up almost 40 feet to the 3rd floor, and you want to have access to hot water at those top level bathrooms instantly. So this just keeps recirculating, and as soon as you turn on the tap, you've got hot water even at the highest points.
When evaluating a property for personal use or as an investment, it's essential to consider both its immediate appeal and long-term potential. At 33 Andrew Street, the current owners have skillfully combined thoughtful renovations with strategic zonings to create a property that offers endless possibilities. Whether you're looking to immediately generate income, build a family legacy, or plan for the future with the option to sever lots while retaining ownership, this property is designed to blend into your vision. There's a certain romance in restoring a barn that was built in 1888, but this property goes far beyond expectations. Meticulously renovated, it offers versatility to serve as a stunning personal residence, complete with municipal sewer and gas for modern convenience, offering comfort to a large family. Or its unique layout and expansive 21-acre grounds make it the perfect spot for hosting unforgettable events, from weddings up to 100 guests outside and sleeping up to 20, or leveraging the aesthetics of the space for professional photography sessions across multiple unique floors and acreage. The possibilities don't end there. With flexible zoning, the property invites endless creativity, whether through severing lots, pursuing rezoning, or exploring multi-business ventures. Whether you see it as a family sanctuary, a thriving business venture, or a blend of both, this property offers unmatched potential for income generation and long-term investment versatility. So, if you feel 33 Andrew Street is the perfect fit for you and your goals, reach out to us today for a private showing.